Hey, Whippersnappers, this is Tortimer the Great. Welcome back to the final installment of our 1,000 subscriber special Q&A. Whew, 6 segments of like a half hour each to get to this thing. 3 hours of Q&A, guys. You guys are insane with all these questions. I appreciate all of the support you guys have given me and all of the great questions you guys submitted, even though it did take us forever to get through them. I am blown away by how much you guys have supported this particular Q&A and this channel in general. I'm super thankful, and I can't thank you guys enough. So let's jump into this final installment. We have talked about your channel related questions. We've talked about your, hey, it's Superman and Elsa or something. We've talked about your channel related questions. I've talked about your personal questions, and we've talked about your gaming questions. And today we are going to be taking on your random questions. And so I'm here on Hypixel, and there we go. We're here on Hypixel, and we are going to be doing some random mini games while we talk about these because we're doing random questions. So why not? Oh, I don't know how that works. I don't spend enough time on here. We'll jump into a build battle here and just kind of see how it goes. But yeah, so let's jump into these questions here. I want this one to be a little bit shorter than one last time's was. I think we went into, okay, car chase. These probably won't be great. I'm going to warn you now just because I'm going to be talking more than probably building a ton. So yeah. The first question comes to us from Kay's Kishi, and Kay's Kishi wanted to know what is the opposite of a turtle, or what would I consider to be the opposite of a turtle, which I had to give some thought to, but in the end it actually ended up being a pretty easy thing to answer. The opposite of a turtle in my mind is a bat. And now hear me out, because a turtle is a very much slow-moving land-based reptile, and reptiles are cold-blooded, and so we need to change out the floor here. Reptiles are cold-blooded and all that, so I figured, well, what's the opposite of a reptile? Well, obviously a mammal is the opposite of a reptile, because you know, just because that's what I said. Okay, gosh. Why? Well, I don't know. I haven't been pulled over enough times, I guess. Yeah, so, and then, like, obviously land-based, so we've got a land-based reptile. If a mammal is the opposite of a reptile, then, you know, obviously, you know, a flying mammal would be the best, and really the only flying mammal that exists is the bat. So I decided to go, that is the worst car ever. So yeah, I figured a bat is the opposite of a turtle. So thank you for the question. Let's see, next one comes from us from Super Duper Bun Bun, and they asked, how many peanuts go in a jar of peanuts? And the answer is all of them. All of them do. Yeah. Didn't see that coming, did you? I don't know. It depends on the size of the jar of the peanuts. Yeah, so thank you for the question. Like I said, these are really random questions you guys submitted. So let's, there we go, we've got a cop car, and, no, that doesn't look too much black. Okay, so yes, that's the question. All of the peanuts go in there. If you could change the color of the sky, what would it be and why? Also from Super Duper Bun Bun. And I gave that some thought, and honestly my favorite time of the day for the sky is like sunset sort of time, so like an orangey purple, you know, kind of thing. If I could change the sky to being like that all the time, that would be pretty awesome. So that's probably what I would have to go with for that one. But yeah, thank you for the question. Next one comes also from Super Duper Bun Bun, and he says, "Are you really gray?" And the answer is no. No, of course I'm not. That would be silly. I'm green. I'm green. You know, because I'm a tortoise. We need red. We need red for the sports car we're gonna be chasing. But yeah, so thank you for the question. There we go. Next one. See, we're flying through these real quick. We only got a minute left. We gotta be quick here, though. All right, so make this similarly. All right, next question. Is it tough being a turtle? Comes from Greeno3, and yeah, it's not easy being green. I can tell you that. Being a turtle is no walk in the park. You gotta deal with all the prejudice, and nah, it's not so bad. You pretty much get to just laze around, which is awesome. So yeah, there we go. Car chase. We'll call that good. I'll put some yellow stripes in the road or something. But yes, okay, so there we go. Yeah, it's not so bad, you know. Everybody, people, you gotta keep a bright outlook on your whatever your circumstances is, and you'll get through it. But yeah, thank you for the question. All right, so or no. There we go. Car chase. Alrighty, so then secondary J asks, tacos or pancakes? And that's actually a really easy one for me. Alright, I see it. We'll give it a good. Not epic or legendary or whatever, but it's a good one. Oh man, there we go. I'll give that an epic with the particles. They're really flying through there. That's fun. I'm not a big breakfast person, Jay. I don't eat, well, I eat breakfast because you're supposed to eat something at the beginning of the day, blah, 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 but, oh, I need to vote. Yeah, we'll say good. I knew I did that wrong. It's white in the middle and black on the ends. Whatever. I don't know what I'm looking at. If they don't finish, I always give it a poop. You gotta finish. I expect the same treatment if I don't finish, so... alright, I'll give that an okay. Ooh, what's the license plate say? It's in Russian. Here's mine. Obviously not great. I don't expect to get a real good vote. We'll see some poops. An okay. I don't think it's a poop necessarily, but certainly not fantastic. But yeah, I'm not a huge breakfast person to begin with, and I love tacos. So, you know, I don't hate pancakes, but I generally wouldn't pick breakfast food of any sort over really any other food. I'm much more of a lunch dinner person. What did I get? I got 4th place. All right, I'll take it. I think I forgot to vote on that last one. But yeah, so probably for me, definitely tacos. I love tacos. You gotta love tacos. And again, I'm not a huge breakfast person, so yeah, there we go. Let's see. Then Scad had a bunch of questions for you. If you could spend a week in any fictional universe, where would you go? And this was tough because there's so many great, like, there's so many great. We'll just go back and do another build battle. I've never really played any of these, so I wouldn't want to have to start trying to learn something new. I ended up saying the Pokemon universe. If I only had like a week to spend in a random universe, I'd love to go to the Pokemon universe because, you know, that's the one thing, like, you know, we could you know, recreate, you know, certain things here in the real world. You know, you can do LARPing and stuff like that where you think you're back in the Middle Ages, you know, for Lord of the Rings, or, you know, some of that stuff where, yeah, I mean, you could make that kind of work for yourself. In fact, I need to do this. Get a middle point. But yeah, I mean, Pokemon is one of those things. It's been such a big part of my life playing Pokemon, and yet, like, never going to, like, as much as, you know, people might wish, we're never going to actually have Pokemon. Like, it's just not going to happen. So, I think that that's probably the fictional universe I'd want to go into. I'd want to go and just kind of experience that whole thing there for a week, if I only had a week to go to some universe. And plus, like, I love Lord of the Rings and things like that, but, like, Middle-earth's a big place. I don't think we'd really get much accomplished in a week unless we had, like, our own personal eagle or something. So, yeah. That looks good. Yeah, Pokemon. Pokemon universe. I'd love to go get myself a Squirtle. It'd be fantastic. Alrighty. Let's check out... Looks a bit much. Let's knock this down a little bit. Alright, so then Scad asked, if you could spend a week in any period of history, where would you go? And I had to give this some serious thought. I mean, so much of, like, history has been romanticized by, you know, us. You know, in the present times, everyone looks back in simpler times and all of that. But realistically, it wasn't always super pleasant. Like, we've romanticized, like, medieval times a lot, but realistically, most people were dying of some sort of disease and and things like that. So, yeah, I don't know that, like, as fun as that would be to go back and be like a Knight of the Round Table, most people were just peasants who were starving and or just being sick to death. So, I don't know that that would actually be a real fun place to visit. I decided that I want to go to, like, Roman times, and you know, to Rome and things like that. I think that would be, fun. Just kind of getting to go, because like, if you were in Rome at that time, like, it was pretty wealthy and things like that. So, I think that would more or less be a very interesting experience for a short stay over. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna go with Roman times for my short little week's vacation in the past. And then let's see. Scad asked, Gimli or Legolas? Oh, and I skipped one. I skipped Jay's second. Okay, so let's go back. I skipped Secondary Jay's second question there. He wanted to know if you could travel to any point in time. So you could travel to any point in time, and let's see, where would you go and why? It can be past, future, a day trip, or a permanent move, and you can bring friends or go it alone. I didn't really think about the future much, but I think if I were gonna go somewhere, his kind of ties into Scad's a little bit, but I think realistically, as much as I'm a computer person and I enjoy playing with computers and doing stuff on computers and all this technology and everything like that, it really complicates things a lot, and so I'd probably... Another white block. I probably would honestly, like, go back to a simpler time. And I know I just kind of made fun of how we romanticize things, but, like, I don't know. Or just, like, go be Amish somewhere. It would be so nice not to have all the stressors of, like, I don't know, just life. You know, just go... I'd love to have a little plot of land and be able to just kind of do you know, life just kind of the way it was meant to be. Oh, I don't know if that's gonna work. Let's put that back. So yeah, I don't know. I think that you know, something more like just kind of a simpler time. Maybe go back and settle for a little while, make a little plot of land, grow some food, raise some animals, just kind of live, you know, without all these distractions or things. Kind of like they did in The Village, that M. Night Shyamalan movie. That certainly has some appeal. It would be a nice, relaxing change of pace. So yeah, I think that would be cool. Then Scad asked, Gimli or Legolas? And I had to go Gimli. Legolas is kind of cool with all of his stuff. I know my wife really loves him with you know, all of his art. She's an archer. She loves archery stuff. So she loves, some of these are kind of intense with the blazes and things, and I haven't been voting on any of them. It's an okay flower. But I have to go Gimli. I love the wisecracking, you know, this is pretty. I'll give this an epic. The wisecracking dwarf, you know, and I was deliberate. He's just like, oh, I love Gimli. He's so much fun. So yeah, between those two, definitely Gimli. Legolas is alright, but I've never really been a huge fan. And then the last one is, Scan asks, what is your opinion of the Hobbit films? They just pixel arted the thing that was already there. And I think no, there's no creativity involved in that. We'll give it an okay. So what is your opinion on the Hobbit films? Why are there faces everywhere? And honestly, I've mentioned this before in like my Lord of the Rings series, but as much the Lord of the Rings plant versus zombies. All right, I'll give that an epic too. It's a cute little zombie guy. I like that actually. They did a little flower pot too. Although their stalk is way too big. See, that's why you need a 3x3. As much as I love the Lord of the Rings movie, those things are masterpieces. I just honestly, the Hobbit movies were very disappointing. They, you know, standalone, maybe they would have been, if they had come before the Lord of the Rings, it might have been a different story. Ooh, I got an epic there. Getting poops from some people, obviously. Another poop. People are just stacking things. Oh, I did get second, though. Awesome. Very cool. But the Hobbit films were just so disappointing because the thing that was so great about the Lord of the Rings movies was, like, I don't know, you believed, you were immersed in that world because everything was done more or less practically. I mean, not obviously they had to do some CG for some, you know, some of this stuff, but the orcs were all practical, you know, so all the creatures that you interacted with and so much of the landscape and everything was practical. Obviously, like Gollum and stuff wasn't, and Shelob and all that, but when you then go into The Hobbit, where like almost everything was CGI, almost everything. I don't think there was probably a single real orc in that entire thing, except for maybe the one orc that ended up being captured and beheaded by Thandril. It took you out of the immersiveness, and I'm a computer graphics person. That's what I went to school for. So it's hard to trick me. I can pretty well see where all that stuff comes from. So it's hard to trick me. But at the same time, it just didn't look as good. It wasn't even just me being picky. It just didn't look as good. It wasn't as immersive. They added a ton of stuff to stretch it into a trilogy, which honestly left a lot to be desired. Because like my wife and I, for the Lord of the Rings, the original trilogy, we had the extended editions, and we love watching those. It's 12 hours of footage, and I can sit there and watch, you know, it's 12 hours. It's great. The extended editions of the Lord of the Rings are amazing. But like sitting down and watching one Hobbit film, normal edition feels like a drag. It just drags on, and like maybe it needed 2 movies. I won't say that necessarily because so much happens in The Hobbit. I don't know that you could have you done it in one necessarily, but 3 4-hour movies or whatever they ended up being, obscene. It just was too much. It was way too much. And as much, you know, there was definitely things to enjoy in it. They're not total crap. Like I said, standing alone, they may have been decent movies, but it was obviously a quick kind of cash grab almost. They're like, oh, these other ones were so popular, we have to crank out The Hobbit. Let's make it a trilogy. Let's, you know, do it as quickly and cheaply as possible. I even like some of the simple stuff, like the main characters are the dwarves. I wasn't even, like, they did that practically. And the stuff they did looked fine. Like, there was nothing wrong with the actual work that they did. But the designs of the dwarfs, I'm not good at parkour. I love the different designs in here, though, all the arcade stuff. The designs of some of the dwarves, I mean, some of them didn't even look like dwarves. Like, Killy and Philly and, like, some of the stuff, it's like, they're just dudes. Like, they didn't even look even remotely dwarvish. And, like, you know, dwarves have been represented in lots of works, including The Lord of the Rings, and only a few of, like, the 13 dwarves on there even looked like dwarves. And, you know, they could have easily differentiated them while still making them look like dwarves. And so that was really disappointing. The guy who played Thorin, I feel like he did a good job. He seems to be a good actor. Nothing against his acting, but I feel like that was a bad casting choice. Because Thorin was, like, ancient. He was like Dwalin sort of ancient in the thing. And, you know, dwarves live a longer time, but the fact that he was so young, it kind of pulled me out of it. I mean, like, because they were even relating to things that happened thousands of years ago, and he's like, you know, he looks like he's a 30-year-old dude with a little gray in his beard. Like, nah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for 1 second. It pulled... There were so many decisions that they made relating to the series that just I didn't agree with. And honestly, I was looking online, somebody had, as opposed to an extended edition, which my wife and I would normally have loved, this person took the 3 Hobbit movies, even like the extended editions, and went ahead and like made an unextended edition and like cut out all the crap that you didn't need, all the stuff that either wasn't in the book. I think he kept even some of the stuff that wasn't in the book originally, but like cut out a lot of, you know, Gandalf's side quest, all the stuff with like Gadriel and all that, like all this stuff that didn't need to be in there. The stupid love story with the dwarf and the elf that like felt so forced and unnecessary. And didn't add anything to the story. Like, this person apparently has cut out all this stuff. I think you would have to torrent it or whatever. Like, I don't think it's anywhere just for streaming. Or I'd love to watch it at some point though, because I feel like there's definitely parts of that trilogy that were really good and really had some value. But there was bogged down by so much unnecessary stuff in terms of like just stretching the runtime and you know, story points that just weren't interesting or, you know, additive to the total like journey and goal and all this other stuff just to like tie it into, you know, the previous trilogy, I guess. Like all that extra stuff with like Azog and things. Like I think he's mentioned in one line in the book, and he turns into like one of the main like, I don't know. I feel like they lost the heart of the book, because it was much more like a children's story, like a whimsical sort of journey, and obviously there was peril along the way and things like that, but it turned it into this whole like, I don't know. If you enjoy it, I'm not saying you're done. But again, I'm sure standing alone they would be very interesting, but as a huge fan of the Hobbit book and a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings series, like I know in the original trilogy of movies, they changed things and excluded things and added. I mean, I get that. They buffed up some parts, like with Arwen and things like that. I get it, but it didn't work in this instance. They stretched one very thin book into 3 overly bloated movies, and there's certainly enjoyable parts of it. My wife and I, we went opening night to see all 3 of them, I think, but in the end, as much as there was to enjoy about it, there was almost more that I was just like, why is this happening? Why is this here? Why are we doing this? Some of the dialogue felt really clunky, just the way that they were trying to force things in there, like that love story and things like that. Oh, I could have anything in my tribe. Like, what is that? It was just, I don't know. I'm ranting now, and I didn't mean to. This episode was supposed to be shorter, Scad. You got me going. But they were enjoyable. I'd love to see that unextended edition. If I could get like a Blu-ray of the unextended edition, where it's like one. I think they took the 3 movies and cut it down to like 1 4-hour movie. So like one extended edition. So like with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, each book they made a 4-hour movie out of once you got into the extended editions. And I'd love to watch that version of The Hobbit, because I think they did some cool things visually and stuff like that with certain segments of it. I think Smaug was really great, although that whole like 30-minute scene at the end of the second movie where like they're doing this Rube Goldberg like killing Smaug thing that never happened in the book, I didn't get that. But yeah, it's you know, I'd love to see it cut down to its necessary components and things like that. But yeah, so there we go. That's my thoughts on the Hobbit movie. Yikes, that went on. I apologize. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the final segment of the 1,000 subscriber special Q&A. I don't know where I'm going right now, but it seems to be some sort of parkour thing. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel and with your subscriptions and your likes and your views and all the questions you guys submitted to this Q&A. It's astounding that we ended up having almost 3 hours of Q&A stuff together at the end. You guys submitted so many interesting questions. Next time I might even need to cut some stuff out. Like, okay, well this question, you know, blah blah blah. You know, maybe this random section won't be a thing. I don't know. I had so much fun answering them though. Maybe if you guys are enjoying watching it, we'll just do it. I don't know, but we'll figure out. I don't even know what we're gonna do for our next milestone. I'm thinking at this point our next milestone will probably just be 2,000. Because I mean, it took us forever to get to 1,000. So I figure 2,000. That's doubling what we had. And it took us forever to get to 1,000. So I don't want to set it at like, okay, well now we're going for 10,000 because I'll probably have quit YouTube before that happens. I don't know. Because that's going to take forever. So yeah, thank you guys again so much for watching. I've been Tortimer the Great, and you guys have been great. Make sure to leave those likes, comments, and subscriptions for me, guys. And yeah, we're getting close to the fall time frame, and I think I'm starting at least one new series. No, well, at least one new series. There's hiccups with one of my series. I don't know what I'm going to do with that at this point. So. So yeah, make sure to keep tuned in to Tortimer the Great Gaming. I have new content coming out every day, pretty much. And so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Tortimer the Great, and you guys have been great. Have a good one.